angle, looking towards Odegaard. Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! And they are back on terms!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. Thank you all for joining us. We have one of my favourite episodes of the year, which is our pre-season predictions. It means very close to the start of the season. And in May, it's going to be a good old time to laugh at how terrible some of these predictions are. And I promise you, they will be terrible. So there we go. We have a full house, more than a full house with us. First of all, we have Mick. Hello, Mick.
Hello.
Mick's ill, so bear with him tonight. So
I've got COVID. I've got COVID, so I'm isolating, as you can tell.
As you can tell, you look exactly the same as you normally do.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I'm ill, so if I keep coughing, I apologise. Any sympathy is gratefully accepted because I'm not getting any anywhere else.
I think you've come to the wrong place for sympathy.
Yeah, I think so. No, to be honest.
Ben, you were ill the other day, but you're fine now. Aren't you? You're full back to full fitness today.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. I think Mick's milking it a little bit. In my opinion, I'm not too sure though. But yeah, I'm fine.
Whatever.
Okay. Danny's with us. Are you all right, Danny? Let's ask if how's those two. Are you all right, Danny?
Yeah, I'm fine, mate. I'm buzzing for tomorrow. Managed to bag 2 with the last tickets, so I'm buzzing.
Yeah. Euros semi-final. It's Bramall Lane, isn't it?
This is a shame, but well.
And we have Lewis with us. Lewis always here for the predictions episode. Thank you for joining us, Lewis.
No worries at all. Very tired today after tramlines, but I'm raring to go.
So everybody's tired or excited for tomorrow. So there may be some procrastinating, and attentions may not be going everywhere today. But we are going to do a predictions episode. We've got like 6-7 categories that we're going to go through. In a moment, we will go through those, and then we'll talk about what we think is going to happen and etc. First of all, we want to give a shout out and a thanks to Kev Johnson for organising the Legends Night that we all went to on Thursday. We streamed it. I think it went all right. I think a lot of people would have listened to that. If you haven't already, you should listen to that because some great stories from Guy Brownson, Ronnie Moore, Ben Pringle, John Breckin, and Mark Todd. It was brilliant. Raised over £6,000. They've been raised, which is brilliant for Rotherham Hospice. And he's going to be doing another one towards Christmas, which is going to be Wish You a Merry Miller for a Christmas-themed Legends Night type thing. So keep your eyes out for that because if it's out like the one we've just been to, it'll be worth going to be honest with you. It was so good. Danny, it's also give another shout out for Rotherham Hospice fundraising efforts that you guys did for the charity game. You got your total, haven't you?
Yes, we've got our total raised from the event itself. This isn't including auctions that we've still got ongoing. And we've raised £1,502. So absolutely fantastic effort from everybody involved with that. We were saying if we get 500, we're happy for a first-time event. And 1,500 has completely blown out of the water what we thought this event was going to be. And if we make it bigger and better next year, who knows how much money we could raise. So thank you to everybody who bought raffle tickets, came to the event itself. Thanks to everybody who was involved with the event on the day as well. Absolutely top effort from everybody. Brilliant stuff.
Unbelievable stuff for everybody. Very, very well done to both involved for both events. Very, very good. We need to talk about, before we record the last episode, we hadn't confirmed the signing of Grant Hall. That was rumoured to be done, so we sort of need to cover that off, really. Mick, thoughts on Grant Hall? It seemed like a good signing. What are your thoughts on the signing? Or a loan sign until the end of the season?
Oh, well, precisely that. It is a good signing. He's an experienced Championship defender. And we've said right from the start of this sort of build up to this campaign that we're not convinced that Woody's going to be playing a huge amount this season. So we needed somebody with that experience to be able to drop in there, and this lad's certainly got it. So yeah, it's a good signing. There's no doubt it's a good signing for us, and hopefully, I mean, we just listened to Warney on Radio Sheffield. There's potentially another one coming in that position. So all good stuff. All good stuff.
Yeah. Ian Bradley says Hull provides the experience we need at the back. Yeah, it does. I think Richard will still play a good amount of minutes this season. Lewis, but I mean, Grant Hull was already the captain. It was only a friendly, but he had the armband at Crew for the first half. He's clearly filling in that role. We needed to replace Ike's leadership. You forget about Ike is on the pitch. His leadership role was important to sort of fill. I think that's what Grant Hull sort of provides. I think. We appear to have lost Lewis.
Yeah, definitely. I think he was
back.
QPR's captain. I'm back. He was QPR's captain previously. Played a good amount for them and Middlesbrough. I think is he 28? So he's
30 now, I think.
Is
Yeah,
it 30 now? Okay. You don't play that many games in Championship if you're rubbish, basically. That level of teams as well. We are most of our defence being inexperienced in Championship as well. It's just be a valuable signing, definitely.
Yeah, completely agree. Danny, anything to add on that signing, or potentially who the other signing may be?
With Grant Hall, he's already been described as like a younger version of Woody. So if we've got two Richard Woods in our side, happy as Larry, me.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you say, provides vital Championship experience at the back. I think him and Woody will be very interchangeable next season. And like you say, we needed to fill the role that Icky had, and quite funnily enough, he's got Icky's old number. So I think it is an improvement in the number 20 department, if I'm honest, because Grant Hall brings an absolute bucket load of champ experience, like we've said. He was QPR's captain for a time. Didn't quite go that well at Middlesbrough for him. But now he's come here and, yeah, shoring up the defence. And like we've just said, looks like we're going to shore it up even more with potentially another loan, I think is what Warney said on Radio Sheffield. Another loan centre-back, this time left-footed, so it's a bit more coming from McCart on that left-hand side. He spoke to a player today who seems very keen on coming here. His agents seem all right with it. Unfortunately, his parent club want us to pay an astronomical percentage of his wage, which we are not willing to do. This is a shame, so I hope something gets sorted. He's also looking at bringing in a striker and a midfielder, plus the centre-back on the left side. So he says he hopes for another 3 or 4 before the end of the window. He's not going to hold his breath on the utility player that he wants to come in, but he'd be happy with 3. And the thing that really raised my eyebrows is that he's positive. Well, he says there's positive signs that we could get one before Saturday as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that one.
Absolutely. Ben, finally on Grant Hall, he's got a point to prove. And I know he's 30 years old and he's got a bucket load of experience, but he's had 2 years, I think it's 2 years at Middlesbrough. And it's been a little bit of a disaster. I think he's played 12 league games in 2 seasons because of one thing or another. So he's not just coming here to play the games, he's coming here to prove that he's still a Championship player. And that's a great motivation for a player, not only to play good for himself, but to show everybody else that he's still a good player.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously he's got Championship experience, but you know, it's no good having experience if you don't know how to use it. It's no good having experience if you're not a good player. I think people could sometimes forget that. You know, he's got experience, yeah, but is he a good player? So it's all about how perform on pitch, isn't it? And obviously he's got something to prove, which is always good. So yeah, I don't really know much about him. Obviously, I've heard the name because he's 30, like you say, 30 years old. He's been at some clubs and played well at some clubs, but I don't know. It's hard to tell, isn't it? If he's got something to prove, then probably be a good player.
Yeah, I agree. Well, before we come to predictions, Ian Bradley wants a question for everybody. Is it okay to be concerned about the recruitment 5 days between the season starts? I will start off by saying if what Danny's saying is right, which I agree with, 1 to 3 or 4 players, there's nothing to be worried about because 3 or 4 players are not going to change your season, Mick. Or it's likely that those 3 or 4 players are not going to change the season. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? And I've been just listening to Warney on Radio Dida. It's quite interesting the hoops that the club have to jump through that are not immediately apparent to us as supporters. You know, when you start looking at agents, you start looking at how much the agent wants, how much the player wants, how much the club wants, all these sorts of things, and then agents obviously playing one club off against the other, and all that. These are all stuff that you've got to deal with over and above. Is the player suitable? Is it somebody we need? Does he going to fit the system? Is he going to fit in with the group of players? You know, all ththese criteria that you're having to tick off before you can even think about getting somebody through the door. So I think, particularly the way Warney and his team, the type of person that they like to bring in, that kind of adds another layer of obstacles to getting people through the door. You know what I mean? So I'm not worried about it. I've not been worried about it, to be honest with you, because I'm happy that ultimately we'll get what we need. And it's been mentioned in the comments a couple of times. You know, lots and lots of other clubs are finding themselves in the same situation. You know, with 4 or 5 days to go the season, and they've not got all the players that they want. I suspect part of that is because a lot of clubs are throwing money about. Not a lot of clubs, but certain clubs are throwing money about like it's going out of fashion, aren't they? You know, so that's potentially going to cause an issue in transfer market, because players are going to be wanting bigger money, and you know they're going to have to wait until the very end when they realise they're not going to get it. So I don't know. I'm talking around in circles a little bit, aren't I? But you know, I'm not worried. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried at the moment. I've been worried at Christmas if we're down to 13 players.
Any of you three concerned, or is it just as Mick covered everything? Fine.
No, not really. Like, there's still 5 weeks until the transfer window is shut, and there's a loan window as well after that. I know it gets a bit. I can see why people are being concerned because the season starts this week, but it's always going to be tough with the season starting early anyway. Less time for not just us, any club, to get all the targets in. And imagine the loan market won't really start until the season starts to see where players fit into their systems and stuff. And I think as Warren rightly says, our actual 11 is pretty solid now. It's just about the depth, but I'm not, unless we get like 7 injuries this week, we'll be all right.
Yeah, they're well done, Lewis. You've jinxed that. Well done, mate.
Cheers for that. You can blame me if that happens.
Grace Kelly's on a chance account. She says that Chio is fine. She's been shopping with him in Primark today. So there's some team news for everybody for Saturday. This isn't the preview show for Saturday, but you know, that's good news. Cheers all up there. Thank you very much. Right, let's move on.
Interesting that I said hello to Chip training ground on Friday, and he seemed quite sweet. So must have been just a battered cold or something.
Did you tell you when he went to Primark?
No, I didn't. To be fair,
Just asking.
Yeah, and Ian Brad, just to point out the careers of the transfer window, Ian Bradley points out that Ipswich have paid almost £1 million for a 19-year-old kid for 20 appearances in his entire career.
That's so out of character, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's the market we're dealing with. That's a League One club that you deal with.
It's Ipswich. Because obviously it worked for them before, so they're just going to do it again, aren't they?
Meanwhile, we've spent 500k, and I'm happy with all 7 of our signings.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, prediction time. So we have how many categories we've got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different categories that we're going to go through. And yeah, we'll see how it goes out and see what we say. And then Mick will probably argue with somebody, and Ben will cry. It'll be great. It'll be fun.
Tears on stream.
So the first category is, who do we think at the end of the season will be the player of the season? So who do you think? Now, while if there's any more thinking time needed, I will allow a caveat to this. So if you pick somebody and they leave before the 31st of August, you can change your player. If we sign somebody before the 31st, you can change to that player. But I think that's unlikely anyway. So there's some caveats. Those are for all the individual stars. So Mick, you're going to say something.
Does that mean we're going to have another predictions post-prediction episode.
Well,
Like
if
in
you're going to
August.
change, you just need to let us know we'll change it, and then we'll tell him if there's a change.
All right then.
Okay.
You have to submit it in writing.
Yeah, and he needs a 24-hour notice period.
Yeah.
And you get a 3-day cooling off period as well.
Right, perfect. Thank you.
Mick, first off, who are you picking as player of the season?
I think I'm going for Dan Barlaser. I'm going for Dan Barlaser because he's going to get a lot more time on the ball this season. He's going to, and that's going to be so dangerous. It's going to make him so dangerous. So for me, Dan Barlaser.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to copy Brian Vernon. I've said Peter Kioso is my pick. I think it's going to be a defender. We're going to be under Kosh a good amount of time. Kioso sort of fills the Wes Harding role of last time, I think. Maybe not as good defensive, but I wanted to pick a keeper, but I can't pick who's going to play. So I couldn't pick either one of those. So I've gone Peter Kioso for that one. Next on my list is Benjamin. Who have you picked for player of the season, Ben?
Barlaser.
Dan Barlaser. Is there a theme coming on here?
Well, I wrote down originally Kelly, but I changed it to Barlaser.
Okay, that's fine. Lewis, have you picked Barlaser as well?
No, I've gone for Chio. I've gone for Chio. I think last season championship, I didn't get a fair crack at width. I think we fit for like one game at the end of the season. I think if he's kept fit, his pace will cause some teams nightmares this season, and hopefully get some more assists under his belt as well, and some goals as well. Get a few million more pounds on his price tag. That's too low for some people.
Yeah, brilliant. That'd be nice. Danny, your last one on the list. Who have you picked for player of the season?
I'll start by saying I know the exact exchange Lewis is on about on Twitter, because that were absolutely glorious to see. All the Swansea fans crying. But yeah, I've gone for Chio as well. I think it will surprise a few. If we play him on the right-hand side, it's a position he does want to give both barrels to, because that was where he was meant to play in the Championship last season until he got cut short with injury. But basing it off what Warney said on Radio Sheffield, Chio will be played a bit more forward this season in more or less his island position. And you've seen YouTubers already comment on our season. Surprisingly, a lot of them have actually had us to stay up, which is nice to see. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's a YouTuber called The Irish Guy who used to be with HITC Sport. He's obsessed with Chio. He says he's going to have an absolutely incredible season. He's going to bang in 15 goals, this, that, and other. And it's like a bit too ambitious for me, but I still think Chio will cause all sorts of problems this season and will probably just edge player of the season over a defender. I think he'll edge it because he's played a bit further forward, a bit more freedom, a bit more time on the ball. And I think he'll be able to work his magic.
Fair enough. We've got comments. Ian Bradley says it'll be Ben Wiles. Nadan D says Georgie Kelly. AJK with a left field. Hakeem Adofin. Very interesting. Mike Miller says same as me. One of the keepers. Can't split them. John C thinks it'll be Lindsay. YouTube just says Lindsay. I think Lindsay's actually a very good shout. He was very good last time, weren't he? I just think it's a good shout. Will Roebuck says, where is the Ben Wiles fan club? Yeah. All right. We've left Ben Wiles out. Geraldine Simpson says the same. For her and Harvey Kelwick with a different one says Cameron Humphreys. For him. Interesting. Right. The next category I have is Breakout Star. So this is not a youth player, because the young player of the year is going next one. This can be somebody who, literally anybody. You could pick Richard Wood for this one technically, because you think he's going to take his performance to another level. It's sort of what is sort of the category. I think I know who he's going to pick for this, to be honest with you. Daniel, let's go from bottom to top from my list. Who are you saying as Breakout Star?
Georgie. Has to be.
I'm going to stop you there. Is anybody else not saying Georgie Kelly for the Breakout Star?
Me.
Ben's not. Okay. Go on, Danny, finish what you're saying. I'll have to go to Richard Wood again. Go on, Danny. Finish what you're saying, mate.
Yeah. So a lot of people have commented that Georgie is still very raw when it comes to football in England. You can see that in pre-season he's still very raw with his positioning and he's challenging for the ball in the 6-yard box. But there's something about him that I don't know what it is, but his boot and his head just know where the goal is. You know what I mean? They just know. It's like it's not connected to his body. They just know where the goal is. And as we know, strikers only have a good season if they bang in at least 30 in a season. I don't think Georgie will get 30, but I think he will play a more important part than people give him credit for, especially in the opening few games where we've got KO'd and Eves out. And I think he will really shine for us. He'll just be there and just get goals. And I think he will be a breakout star.
That's exactly what I've picked him. Lewis, Mick, you've both done Kelly, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
Cool. Anything to add on what Danny's just said? Because I've got it right
before pre-season, I thought he were nailed on for a loan. I will swear. But after watching him in pre-season, I've been most impressed by him. Really, his hold-up play seems to have got a lot better, and he certainly knows where net is. So it wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't surprise if he gets like 8 to 10 goals this year, which would be a great return considering he's a nobody in terms of no one really knows him apart from 45 minutes against Gillingham. Yeah,
I think the key to it's going to be is if we create the number of chances we created last time we were up in Championship, then he will easily make double figures. There's no question about that because that is the type of player that he is. Those chances that we created and missed so many of last time are the type of chances that Georgie Kelly quite clearly thrives upon. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, if you count how many if you went through last Championship season and counted how many tap-ins were missed by Smithy and Freddie, you know, it would have kept us up comfortably. Genuinely comfortably kept us up.
Look at his XG when we were 13th or something like that.
Somewhat ridiculous, yeah. So and that momentum, that expected goal momentum, carried on into League One season. So it's clearly a trait of this team. So fingers crossed. I was going to go for Talaji Bowler, I'll be honest, but I'm not 100% convinced he's quite there yet. I think Georgie Kelly, yeah, definitely for me.
Fair enough. And we have Ben, who has not picked George Kelly. So, Benjamin, who are you picking as the breakout star?
I picked Kyoso.
Okay.
Good call.
I didn't pick Kelly because obviously it's his first year being a professional footballer. And I'm not saying I don't know where I put Kelly down for top scorer and player of the season, but I changed it because I don't know how he's going to play because I've only seen him play 105 minutes, 90 of them against Parkgate, so I don't count. You know, he looked poor against Gillingham, in my opinion. So I haven't really seen him. It's kind of unfair to put him down and then he turns out not to be very good. So I might change my mind. Obviously, I can't change my prediction, but I don't know. I didn't want to pick him because I don't know how he's going to play. If that makes sense. I don't know how good he is. I'm going to have to see him in person. Obviously, I'm not a football manager, so I won't be able to make a scouting report. No, but I'll tell you my opinion of him after 3 games.
Yeah, there he is. Parameds UK says Kelly doesn't mess around like Smith used to. He has a homing beacon that can find the net anywhere. And fair we had Will. I think when Will Daniels was on our show when we signed him, he's watched him a bit, and he basically said that he will attack anything that's between the box and the goal. And that's for so far. That's exactly what he's seen. Yeah, it's exciting, and it's pre-season, and like I say this every year, nothing's gone wrong yet, and that's why we're quite excited for him. I think. Yeah, so there we go. That is the breakout star. The next category is possibly the hardest category, young player of the year. It's not a desperately young squad, to be honest with you. The category, the ruling we normally go is below 23 at the start of the season. That's what we normally go for as young player. So we'll see how this goes. Mick, who have you gone for as young player of the season?
I've gone for a player who probably won't even get a game. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I've gone for DeRose. I think he's been blooded in this pre-season, and I wonder whether if he doesn't go out on loan or if we're not as successful as we would like to be in the transfer market, he may well make that first team squad. And if he does, I think he'll shine. So that's who I've gone for. I might be way wide at mark there.
Entirely possible. That's what we do, though, isn't it? Ben?
Put Humphries.
Humphries?
Yeah.
I think he's 23. So account.
Hang on, let me check. He is 23. He'll be 24 at the end of August.
It's 23 though, isn't it?
It's 20. He is 23 at the start of the season, technically. So if you want to come in Humphries, I'll let you have him.
I don't. Yeah, I'd pick Humphries because I don't really know anyone else under 23.
Okay. He didn't bat the skin of his teeth. Lewis.
I've gone for Kyozo. He's 22. I had a quick look, and there's only like 6 players under 23 really in the squad.
Yeah,
and Kyozo stood out for me from what I've watched him against us for MK Dons last year, and bits of seen him from pre-season as well. I think he'll set up to shine, especially in our system. I think his fingers crossed is like a dead cert to hit the ground running.
Yeah, I agree. I've gone Kyoso as well. I like you. I really struggled for this category. It's the only one I struggled for, really. There just isn't that many, other than the real kids, which I don't think will play many games. Danny, who have you gone for the young player?
Yeah, again, this was one I struggled with as well. But for me, I'm gonna have to go with Josh Keown. I think if he was fit, he'd probably go out on loan this summer. Maybe not. Maybe this is his time to actually have a do at the Championship. And now that he's injured until the season's already started, he might play more of a role, at least until January. And yeah, I think KO could step up this season. He's had a little bit of a first team run in League One last season. And so this season, it could be his next step up in his development as well.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad shout. I think if JJ went on loan and got loads of goals for somebody else, I think we could possibly count him as a young player. Even though it's not for us, we might be able to count that at the end of the season as well, possibly. So in the comments, we've got Ben Wiles, who I think we could have had, but I don't consider him a young player anymore. That's the problem with Ben Wiles. Baz says Bowler. Brian Vernon says Woody. Kim Woodyard says Kyoso. We've gone for John S. says Mackenzie Warren. Ian Bradley thinks Josh Curdy will come good this season. Will Roebuck says Mick Bowler's 23. Fancy him?
I might end up being that bloke out at Fast Show with pub who just changes his mind every time somebody gives him a suggestion, because I am quite fancying that now. Yeah, I'm gonna change my mind. Thanks, Will. I'm gonna go for Bowler. Talaji Bowler. I think if he gets his chance this season, he won't lose he won't lose his place.
Okay.
So I'm going for Talaji Bowler. I've crossed it out and I've put it on my list. I'm making notes.
Yeah, so I've got it here. We're making a list, Anna.
Cheers, Will.
Yeah, well done. Thanks, Will.
Don't suggest something else though, because I'll change my mind again.
Right, next category we have is top scorer. Now I think we're going to see some differences in this one. I'll start with this one. I've gone Tom Eaves. I think when we talked to the Hull fan, that he didn't get chances created when Hull created chances. He scored some goals, not many, obviously, but he knows where the back of the net is if you create stuff for him. Not ideally he's injured, but I've gone for Tom Eaves anyway. Ben, I'll start with you this time. Top scorer.
I went Tom Eaves, but I think if it kind of depended on Kelly, because I no one knows how Kelly's season's gonna go. I think it well could be Kelly. I'm not going to be annoyed if it is Kelly because I kind of like that. But I think Eaves. I'm going to have to say Eaves because I just have to say Eaves. I don't think. It's Eaves.
You're just saying Eaves over and over again.
Yeah, because I was going to say I don't think that Kelly's not going to be top scorer though. If that makes sense. I think Kelly could be top scorer.
21 for Eaves, 20 for Kelly.
No, it all depends on Kelly. I think if Kelly's performs how he's performing in pre-season, then Kelly easily. But if he acts like it's his first season in professional football, then I think Eaves is going to score more.
Okay, fair enough. Lewis, who do you fancy?
I've gone for Eves as well. I could have quite say with you, so I could have quite easily gone for Kelly, but you just don't fully know what you're going to get from him. I just feel like Eves is a safer bet, especially how we play as well with balls into the box and stuff. I think he'll thrive off that and get a decent chunk.
Yeah, like it, Danny.
Yeah, I'm going to say Tom Eves as well. Mainly because he sort of suits our system more than he suited Hull's. You know, we get more balls in the box than Hull do. We're not necessarily have a massive turnover of possession all the time. You know, we will try and craft a chance from out wide or nipping inside with Benny or whoever's in that like number 10 sort of position. But yeah, I think Eves will latch onto balls in the box, as will Kelly, to be fair. But I think as Eves being the more established striker, shall we say, I think he'll know when to attack it rather than just attacking everything, and he'll know when to take his chances. But I do also think Georgie will chip in with a fair few this season and will be like the dark horse of the team, if you like.
Yeah. Mick, are you going to give us a full sweep of Tom Eves, or are you going to pick some different?
Tom Eves were never really in my consideration, and I don't really know why. Probably he's just out of sight, out of mind kind of thing, isn't it, really, with him being injured and everything else. A toss-up for me between Connor Washington and Georgie Kelly. And at the moment, just because of I can't see past Georgie Kelly. I can't. Until he comes in and has a couple of bad games and loses a bit of confidence or whatever, I can't see past Georgie Kelly. So that's my pick.
Fair enough. I'm surprised no one picked Washington. But anyway, go there. It was
close because I quite fancied Washington as well because I think he's going to create a lot of problems. But I don't know whether he's going to get as much game time.
I think the one thing we can, hopefully agree on is that all of the strikers will chip in with goals this season. Like, there's not necessarily the goal scorer like there was with Smith last season, but I think they'll all chip in steadily. Like with where's the comment gone? The one from Brian Vernon saying most of the squad will chip in, even Wiles maybe getting 13 or so. Yeah, because we know there are goals that come from midfield with Wiles and Barlasser. Benny can certainly score a screamer, so he might chip in with a few. I reckon Washington and Kelly will chip in with a few. Eves might just nudge it. But that's the thing we need to consider for this season. Where will the goals come from? And I think that may have been where some fans have been worried with it. Like, they can't see where the goals are going to come from. And that's because we don't have the top goal scorer per se, like we had with Michael Smith. We've just got like a little collection of they'll all chip in steadily, but they won't sail off with a goal tally sort of thing. If they all sort of nestle around 15 to 20, we'll be fine, I think, because then you've got 2 or 3 players get in between 15 and 20. That's where your goals will come from. And not really scoring goals, but certainly conceding them has been our issue in the Championship, especially when we've been going down. But up front is just as important. I think if we get a fair number of goals, we should be okay. It's a great prediction season, isn't it? There's so much optimism about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when we went down last time, it was the first time ever that our defence wasn't the problem. I think it was the lowest amount of goals we've ever had in the Championship, or certainly the lowest amount we had in a long time in the Championship.
Other than the horrific season, it was.
Yeah, exactly. So goal scoring is the problem. Goal scoring was the problem, is the problem. We relied heavily on Matt Crooks, who is, we all agree is a brilliant player, but he's not a finisher, is he? And Michael Smith, as much as good as he a player, is not a finisher, and that's what cost us last time at Championship. I think we've got some finishers at the club this time. I hope, anyway. Bazza says Chio. Neil Bolton says Cole Stockton. Kim Hayward thinks JJ. James Finney says Kelly Washington. Sean Greaves says Kelly tied with Eves. James Finney points out in Young Player of the Year that we could have had Jake Hull, the Young Player of the Year.
Yeah. It'd just be game time for Hull. I know he's more in the first team fold, but will he play a lot of games when we've got, Hall, Woods, Humphreys, Harding, McCart, all in that centre-back line. Maybe not. He's certainly a very decent backup, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. The next category we have is top assists. This is one we chucked in last year. I think did Barlasser win it last year? I think
Barlasser won 7, I think. Yeah.
So there we go. That is where we're going to start. Michael, who gets top assists for you this season?
I'm going with Chio. I'm going to go with
Play
Chio.
for the forward.
Yeah, particularly because he's playing further forward. Excuse me. He nearly got it last year. He was very, very close to winning that. So I think with him playing slightly less defensively, I think I'm going with Chio, definitely.
Fair enough. I've gone exactly the same. I've gone Chio. Benjamin?
I put Barlasser because he takes corners and set pieces and it gets normal assists as well. So I've gone Barlasser.
I like playing the percentages. I like it.
Yeah.
Lewis?
I've gone Wiles. I think we were close. We were close last year. I think he came second last year, and he's going to have much more space in the advanced role this year in Championship. So I think he'll be right up there. I think.
There we go, Danny.
I'm going to go out on a lim here and say Kioso.
I like it.
Because he's got that touch on the right hand side, and if Ogbeni is playing further forward, then it'll be Kioso and possibly Ferguson or Bramall on the left hand side, who will be your into the mixer players. So if we get the ball out to Kioso and he gets the ball in the box, and then it lands on, say, Eve's head, then I reckon Kioso could be up there with the assist number.
Not a bad shout, to be fair. Kim Haywood thinks Washington. I don't think he'll be far off. Ian Bradley says Barlasser, along with Andrew Kelly. Russ Vernon says Barlasser. Brian Vernon says Barlasser. John C with the left field shout of Shane Ferguson, which I don't think is a bad shout. He can take some set pieces at times as well.
Good shout.
Very good shout. And Shaw Green finishes with Chio on that one as well. I think most people go Chio or Barlasser. I think they're the two obvious ones, aren't they? Other than Danny. Right, this one is a new one. There's a couple of new categories we've chucked in this year. Total goals scored for Rotherham United. Now this could end up being just a tiebreaker at the end of the season. The person that's closest wins. But yeah, there we go. Total goals scored. I'll start for this one. I've gone 50. Big round number. 50 goals, I think. Danny, what do you think?
Sorry, just turn my camera off whilst my mum comes through, because she's had far too many people check around and go, "Oh, I've seen you come through on the podcast." But yeah, I've said 52. 52 in the league, 56 all competitions, I think. And I've been looking. I put this number down before having a look at the last 5 seasons in the Championship, and 53 kept us up. When we came 21st with 49 points. And then when we went down just before COVID, we'd scored 52. So I think 50 and upwards should see us over the line. So my guess is 52 in the league.
Fair enough. Lewis?
I'm going 54, I put. I think 44 we got last time. Like Danny said, we need to be up over 50, I think, to be in a good position. So hopefully we get 54 exactly.
Yeah, I think I'll take a point per goal. Thank you very much. We'll play that rule this season. That'll do me. Mick, what do you think?
I've gone 61. Because I think we will continue to create the chances, and I think we'll take more of them this season. So I've gone 61.
Okay, there we go. Ben?
56.
56. But I'm glad we've all gone different numbers, because that would have been a terrible tiebreaker had we gone for the same ones. In the comments, we've got Kim Hayward says 40, Jerry Lenson says 57, Paramount UK 52, Harvey Coates 55. All about the same numbers. Sean Green says 61. So all about the same. I think we're all in the same ballpark, I think, which I think is fair enough. So this last one, next one. This isn't the last one. A couple more to go after this. Which Rotherham player will play the most minutes throughout the season? I think last season was Icky. I think Icky or Smith. I can't remember now. Anyway, so who will play the most minutes? As always, we use transfer market, so there's an argument to stick up with them at the end of the season. Benjamin, which one might play plays the most league minutes? I should point out.
Barlasser.
Dan Barlasser. Okay. Would you like to tell you why I don't think that's going to be the case?
Why?
When there's a problem, Paul One always sacrifices Dan Barlasser. He is the sacrificial lamb for any changes.
Although that could change this season.
That's true.
With Ollie Rathbun being, not to knock him or anything, but being the least experienced in the Championship.
True.
But I see the point, for sure.
You sticking with it, Ben?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll still going to change my mind.
Okay. Fair enough. I wouldn't. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Dan Barlasser, you said, Mick. You're on mute, Michael.
Fantastic. Well done. Brilliant. I was going to go with Ollie Rathbone initially, but then I realised we were in Championship, so he's going to be sent off it first week because he tackles players. So that's not going to work. So I know a couple of people are mentioning in the comments about keepers, but I think they'll interchange throughout the season. So I'm going to go with Ben Wiles. I think Ben Wiles, if he stays fit, he'll play virtually every game this season for me.
Fair enough. I went Ollie Rathbun. I think he'll play virtually every game, apart from the game.
Yeah, but he'll get sent off, won't he?
I know.
You know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen.
He's clever enough to learn his lesson, though, isn't he? I think if he does it once, he'll learn his
lesson.
He's not an idiot.
But he's not an idiot. But we're not dealing with normal sets of circumstances. We're talking about Championship referees.
Yeah, I don't. You have got a point. I see what you're saying. Who have I not asked? Lewis, what do you think?
I've gone Wiles as well. I agree with Mick. I think if he stays fit, he'll be basically every game. He'll be starting. If he's as good as what we're going to think he's going to be this year, I think he's going to be undroppable, basically. So,
good shout, Danny.
I've gone for Wiles as well. I think it will definitely be sort of our engine in the midfield, and certainly in the Championship, because we get a lot more time on the ball just from how the division works. And I think it'll be probably Wiles playing further forward than the normal midfield too. So I think he will just play more naturally, But yeah, big season ahead for Wiles. I think if we keep hold of him, he'll make the most appearances easily. And from the noises that I've heard, we probably will be keeping hold of him as well.
Yeah, barring a significant bit.
But barring someone just slapping the checkbook on the table and saying, "What will it take for us to take him off you?" I think he will stay for this season.
Yeah. Agreed. Very, very much agreed. I think I've got everybody for that one. Yeah. Okay. Finished position. Now, a lot of people are predicting us to struggle outside of us. It's in 24th, mentioned by a couple of people. I don't think we'll see many 24th on this podcast, but we'll see. Danny, we'll finish with you. Let's start with you. Where are we going to finish?
Anything above 21st will do for me. But yeah, like you said, a lot of people have said, Rotherham are going to go down this, that, and other. And it's only really the accounts that have analysed historical data plus various other variables that have got us staying up. I think it's just the common practice that, Rotherham, little club in the Championship, they'll go down. But I don't know why. I don't know if it's the optimist in me or what, but I am fully committed to us finishing 15th. I really am. I think we will be a bit of a dark horse this season. That will probably come back and bite me in the arse. But I can see us really upsetting a few teams. I really, really can. So I'm going to say 15th, and I think we'll finish above some teams that may even be offended that we finished above them. And I think we will see the return of the teams like Rotherham hashtag.
I hope so. I miss the teams like Rotherham hashtag, to be fair. They're great. 15th, I like it. Lewis.
I've been a bit more conservative. I've gone 20th. I hope it's a comfortable 20th. It's not like we're down to like last game or anything. But yeah, I think we're, like Danny said, we're definitely more set up to upset a few of the big boys this year. And we likes to Kelly and that. Hopefully we'll be able to take more chances. But yeah, I think we'll be all right.
20th, I like it. Benjamin?
I've gone 17th.
17th.
But I'm sure Nick will probably echo this, but the quality of the championship, from what I've seen, what it was last year was dross. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. And if we had a goal scorer last time we were in the championship, we'd have made playoffs. I say that comfortably, easily, genuinely easily we'd have made playoffs. Nearly fourth, because the games that we lost were against dross teams, and it was dross defending. It was one mistake. It was a set piece or something. The championship is not a good division. There's some awful teams in there. Some awful teams. Awful. It's an awful league. You know, I look at that Bournemouth and people have gone up. Awful. Absolutely awful. Honestly, I'd rather watch Scottish League because it's awful. You see it on telly and that. I mean, well, you know, and they just throw themselves on the floor and get free kicks and then score for me because that's the end of the game nowadays, isn't it? Might as well get rid of nets and count free kicks won. I think that's a better way of playing football, in my opinion. But yeah, it's an awful league. So I think 17. If we can get some goals back in, obviously.
John Morell says he highly recommends Ben's comment. He says, as a Birmingham fan, Johnny, the standard of the league is dire. He'll add into that most teams are equally dross. Yeah, they are. But we saw last season that they could have relegated 6 or 7 teams from Championship last season. It was a terrible league. And, you had Barnsley being more terrible than everybody else. Derby very unlucky with the points deduction. Unlucky is the wrong word, obviously, but yeah. I do sort of agree. I'm not as strong. I don't think we finished 4th or could have finished 4th, but I get what you're saying. I've copied you a bit. I've gone 18th. I think that's for me. And I've saved Mick for last, and there's a reason I've saved Mick for last. It's because last time in the Championship, Mick was 6th. And last time in League One, to be fair, you were very close. You said we'd finish first. We didn't finish first, but you were, I think, the closest out of all of us. So, Mick, not build this up, but go on.
I'm working on the basis that hopefully I'm going to be as far out with my championship prediction as I was last time. I shall go 24th this time then.
Why?
And that way, if I'm as far out, we're going to be 6th, 7th.
You were one off last time. Oh, you mean championship? Sorry,
championship. I've put 17th. That's what I've gone with. I thought I'd try and be a little bit more realistic.
Yeah,
but like we've already said, and I echo what Ben's just said there, and what John in the comments said. The standard is not great in this division. You know, it's we know how to get out of League One, don't we? There's so many teams that know how to stay in the Championship.
Yeah, do you know the answer? Do you know the answer?
Well, go on, tell me.
3% on floor. Genuinely, that's the answer.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, we're going to have all season to talk about stuff like that because we know that that's what we've got to look forward to. So we can. Hopefully, I've got some voice left and tested negative enough on Saturday to be able to scream it out because I'm quite looking forward to venting some of my anger on Saturday. So yeah, you're right. 17.
Fair enough. In the comments, we have some belters. James Finney says 20th. Hinch says 20th. Kev Johnson says 2nd.
Yes.
Love the optimism, Kev.
It's about time we got to the Premier League.
Rusford 18th. Sorry, Sean Green 16th. Madden D says 14th.
Yes, I'm not the highest ranked.
Sean Green says the Sky Bet EFL predictor has him finishing 13th. Yeah, it's a bit unsettling that Sky are promoting the Rotherham United agenda. Not really understand that. Anyway, Will Roebuck says, has Ben caught Mickitis? Very possible. Very possible. Ian Bradley says he thinks Blackpool, Reading and Hull will go down. Wigan are one that have sort of flopped under the radar a little bit. Nobody's mentioning Wigan are going to struggle, and they've not signed anybody. I don't think, or if they've signed anybody, or not of note. They've had a poor transfer window so far. Yeah, interesting.
Huddersfield are going to be dark horses as well. I suspect
for relegation or for playoffs.
For relegation, I think
Okay.
Huddersfield are going to be down there.
Well, they just lost O'Brien and Toffolo, aren't they?
Manager.
Yeah.
So, and I don't see a great deal of investment going in there that I've seen. Obviously, I'm not a massive follower, but
the same with Blackpool as well. To be fair, I reckon Blackpool will be a dark horse relegation because they lost their manager to be the assistant at Aston Villa, which is okay,
crazy.
So I reckon Blackpool could be a prop up of the division, shall we say? Not to put them completely in the relegation places, but they'll certainly be the prop up for our survival, I think.
Yeah, we're the Wickham of this season, aren't we? We're the team that everybody thinks, they're crap, they're going to go straight back down. John Morrell, you've got Reading, Blackpool, who he's not convinced of. He's not convinced of Wigan or Sunderland. Sunderland have not done much business. The couple of players they signed are very, very young, very young.
Yeah, but
the only thing about Sunderland is their manager. Alex Neil is a very, very good manager, and that's the only sticking point.
If they sit 20th at Christmas, is he going to still be there?
No, they'll sack him, won't they?
There you go.
They'll sack him. So,
yeah, there's a lot of teams to put into that mix, which fills me with confidence. Anyway, final question. I think we all going to have the same answer to this. So just shout if you haven't got the same answer. The final question of our predictions is: will Paul Warne still be the manager of the football club come the final day of the season? Did anybody say no?
Didn't even write the answer on notepad. That's how stupid.
I didn't even write the question down to answer it.
No, I didn't. That's how stupid it was. No offense, Matt. It was an idiot. Anyone who says no, right? He's just an idiot.
We've got a no in the comments already, Ben. We've got a no in the comments already, so be very careful.
Yes, from the Birmingham fan, Matthew.
It doesn't make sense.
It's only John and wind up, isn't it?
If he's not, then I'm not supporting Robin anymore. I'm genuinely going to question my support for this club, depending on the reason. Obviously, if he doesn't commits a serious crime or something, then I'm not going to stop. But if he just gets sacked, then I'm going to question my support for the club.
The question is to be impartial. So take yourself out of being a Royal United fan, almost, and do you think that Paul will still be there at the end of the season? That's the question. The question is not what do you feel. It's a prediction, not what do you feel.
All right. If it was any other chairman in the Football League, then I don't think he would. But we've actually got a chairman with a brain, so I think he'll still be in the thing. Or we could do what Burnley did, because it worked for them, and what Watford did. It worked for them, didn't it? Not.
We only people we have saying no are John Morrell, and we also have Geraldine Simpson who says if we stay up, she thinks yes. If we go down, she thinks he will resign, which I think is a possibility.
Okay, yeah,
that's a fair
I sort of agree with, yeah.
So the technicality of the question is at the final whistle of the final game of the season, will he be manager? If he resigns 10 minutes after kickoff, he's still manager at the end of the season. Is the ruling? Got to have these rules in place, haven't we? John C says, "Go on, Ben. Tell him it's a stupid question. You can tell him." It's the predictions. You can predict these things. I ran out of predictions to put prediction questions. To be honest with you, yeah.
You'd have been better off trying to predict what colour boots somebody were wearing. It'd have been a far more sensible question.
Anything could happen. He could resign. He could lose 20 games in a spin. Just a question to ask.
You need to understand that our job on this podcast is to ensure that we indoctrinate all Rotherham United supporters with our way of thinking. You need to understand. I've made notes, right? I've made notes of what I've got to tell people about the fact that we're lucky to have Tony Stewart. I hope you all understand that, and you're all wrong if you don't think we are. Paul Warne's best manager ever in the history of Rotherham United and any football club ever. You're wrong if you don't think he is. You've got to fill that narrative, mate. Come on. Keep up asking questions like that. It doesn't fit, does it? Oh, we need
to push here, Matthew.
We need to sell some water as well.
Yeah. I had a conversation with David. Inchy says if he would go anywhere as manager, it potentially will be Norwich. If Dean Smith goes, I can't see Dean Smith lasting the season at Norwich, so there will become probably a point in the season where there are questions to be asked of that link.
Yeah, but that's fair because Norwich sack the manager when there's a gust of wind, so that's
no Norwich don't, do they? Norwich are different.
Is it not Norwich? Oh, I thought I'm positive Norwich sacked their manager. Their 3 managers last time
they did what we did with Paul Warren and with Daniel Farker. They kept him after 2 relegations.
Oh, so right. I thought they had 3 managers in the space of a year.
Not Watford, that.
Watford.
All right. My apologies. No.
They're both playing yellow, mate.
Yeah, you're playing yellow.
I
know you're wearing yellow. Is that where the confusion's come from? I don't know.
It might be.
YouTube said I thought Mick was poorly. He is, but he still manages a good Mick rant in there, doesn't he? Yeah. That's the end of our predictions. Is there anything else you want to predict? I'm not going to put it down in our predictions because they're sort of sealed now till the end of May. Danny, go on.
I have another prediction that I'd like to throw into the washing machine for everybody.
Go on.
Points prediction. How many points do you think we'll get this season?
What do you need for playoffs?
well, this is my thinking behind it. Excuse me. I reckon we should just shoot for 50, get 50, and then see where it takes us. Because the last 5, it was 42, 40, 23. I wonder which season that was. And then we stayed up with 49 and 46 that should have been 49, but we got points deducted for a stupid reason. So I think if we aim for 50, we'll be fine. But if we completely try and shoot for the stars, we probably could get as high as 62, which would put us roughly 14th if we were to get 62. If you were to put us in last season's championship. So I think between 50 and 60 we'll get this season. Okay.
Well, so there's 50 and 60, you're saying. Okay. You've got to pick a number.
Well, points is a lot harder to predict, though, isn't it? Should we make it to a margin of 5 that you can pick between?
Okay.
All right, I'll go for between 55 and 60 then.
Okay. Let me get my categories back up so I can put this back in because I think this is not a bad one. This is another good tie break if we need one. Total points. What did you say, Danny? 55 to 60.
Yep.
Okay. Lewis, you're next up on my list. What do you reckon total points?
I'll go 53.
Cool. Fine. Benjamin, you're next. This is a stupid question at all.
No, but I go 54 to 59. That range.
Quite specific, unnecessarily. Okay. Mick?
I can't stop coughing. 61. I'm going to same as number of goals we score. It just makes it easier. Saves me to think.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go middling as well. So I'll say 55. I think that's suitable. Right. What we've got in comment, we have Harvey Kellowitz is 51. Jamie thinks we should try and get an average of a point a game, which 46 we should just about keep. So obviously 50 is the obviously magic number. John C hedging his bets by saying between a 0 and 100. Probably going to be right on that one. Unless we get good administration halfway through the season. Powerhead UK is 57 to 62. James Finney says 46 to 51. Yeah. I would take all of those, to be honest with you. Other than the 0, John says, I would take most of those. Yeah, so there we go. So just to sort of let you know what's happening over the next couple of episodes, we will be back on Thursday with our first first pre-match episode of the season. The Scouting Report will return as we have a chap from Swansea coming to tell us all about Swansea. And we'll do the ref watch, all that type of nonsense. The referees are out, Mick. If you're interested, I'll not spoil it for you just yet. But you will enjoy who we have.
It's Gavin Ward, isn't it?
It's not Gavin Ward, but there is some beautiful footballing symmetry with the referee that we've got on Saturday.
No.
At least it's not Trevor Kettle. That's all I'm saying.
Not Trevor Kettle, thankfully.
No,
Yeah.
I know exactly who it is.
I don't think you do. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it on Thursday. And we'll be doing the live well, it won't be live, we're doing instant reaction at the ground. We'll be recording some instant reaction at the ground. That'll be on YouTube straight after the game, so Saturday evening. After all home games, that will be put out. Is there anything else I'm missing that we're bringing up new this season that I've missed? Danny, you'll be doing a vlog still, won't you?
Yep. I'll try and do a vlog tomorrow at the England game because it'll be my first semi-final, international semi-final. I've actually been able to watch not in the house because the last one I had COVID, so I had to sit in the front room and watch us completely finesse Denmark. But yeah, so I'll try and do like a testing vlog for that one, get my eye back in and all that. But I think the one thing we can all agree on after listening to Paul Ward on Radio Sheffield and on the Moment of Truth podcast, we'd all run through brick walls for him, won't we? And if we'd run through brick walls for him, imagine what the squad will do. We will be fine this season.
Just
I think
go on.
In the interest of balance, Danny, not everybody would run through a brick wall for him, but most of us would.
Well, people with sense would.
In the interest of balance, I think it's important.
Yeah, but the people that wouldn't don't know what a brick wall is.
That's a proper oxymoron, that. People with sense would run through a brick wall.
Yeah, that's true. We should mention the Moment of Truth. The next 5 episodes that were out on Thursday, which we missed in terms of when we recorded. How much did we all enjoy the Portsmouth episode?
In hindsight, when you can enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If it wouldn't have gone up, I think it'd have been very, very tough to listen to.
Yeah.
My favourite bit is when Paul One leaves the room and you can just hear Richie Barker going at him, absolutely going at him.
My one comment on that will be that me and Richie have got a very similar vocabulary when it comes to football, because I was saying the exact same things but in the stand.
Yeah, just brilliant. Final 5 are out this Thursday, and we'll try and get Si Clancy on again after. Once we've listened to them all, once everybody's had a chance to listen to them all, we will get him back on and get his sort of final thoughts on the final 5. I'm really looking forward to those last 5 episodes. That Jingham episode is going to be epic, isn't it? It's going to be amazing. Already looking forward to that. Anything else, boys? We've gone plenty of time. But is there anything else we need to cover, talk about? Any of those stupid questions we want to ask Ben?
No, not from me.
What did you say?
I just wondered if you got any stupid comments. Right?
What did you say? No.
Cool. Danny, anything?
All I'll say is thank you for listening to the Happy Clappers podcast.
We should get some T-shirts made up. I've seen a Barnsley fan that's done a podcast and they've got a Happy Clappers T-shirt. We should get T-shirts made up. Yeah. So yeah, thank you all for paying attention to this episode, if you still are. We will be back on Thursday, as I've already mentioned, for the normal pre-game episode. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, because that's where the instant reaction will go on there, which will be Saturday evening. Please subscribe on iTunes, Spotify. If you listen to audio, make sure you go to the 5-star rating, wherever is applicable. Yeah, Lewis, I don't have you on very often, so it's a pleasure to speak to you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again, chaps.
Danny, it's always a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much.
Yep, always a pleasure. Let's get ready to rumble this season.
Oh, yes. Mick, I hope your COVID symptoms subside for Saturday.
They better do. I've got to be tested negative before Saturday, haven't I?
Not legally,
that
but
would
yeah.
be bad news.
That would be pretty bad, yeah. And Ben, cheer up, mate. Oh, Ben, you've got a thank you to send out.
Oh, yeah. A thank you to Grace Kelly for my Georgia Kelly photo and a card for my birthday. So thank you. Thank you. I haven't got it up yet, but I will do.
Not to brag or anything, but I won a full set on the raffle at the charity game. Yeah. Funny enough, my mum won the full set, and we're there ready to announce it on the little PA system we had. And I read the card, and it's like, why does it just say dog on it? I haven't put a thing in. So I read the ticket out, and my mother's sat behind me and just goes, "Oh, it's me." It's like, oh, fantastic. I'll have to take them to work and get them signed.
You will. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you, everybody. We will see you on Thursday or Friday, depending on when you listen. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, hi. Hello. Shall we go again this time? Bye.
Professionalism. Freddy's on one-on-one. Freddy Kenny shoot container shot. Yeah!